The best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. No one can stop me. I'm the best ever.
Maybach music.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Let's get ready to
All step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Welcome to the Walden Podcast, where we talk about the great outdoors, entrepreneurship, and living a life with intent. My name is Marcus Kehoe. Some of you may know me as Totally Upland. Today I've got Dan Lenssen on. He's a bird dog extraordinaire, a breeder, a trainer. Dan, great to have you on the show, sir. I'll give you a moment to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Oh, thanks for having me. Name's Dan Lenssen. I live in Washington State, close to the Idaho border, and been hunting since I was 12, I think. Originally grew up on the west side hunting waterfowl and moved here almost 17 years ago, and made the switch to uplands and been chasing pheasant, quail, and huns ever since.
Let's go. So you said you come from the West. Are you a California transplant?
No.
Oh, okay.
West side of Washington.
Oh, okay. The west side of Washington. Gotcha.
Northwest, way up by the Canadian border. So
Understood.
not Seattle either. So don't confuse me with that.
There's some feelings about that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if anyone in the state had any feelings about that. So you started as a waterfowler, it sounds like.
Yep.
How did you get wise? And bring it to upland?
Well, just the move created that. So over there is no upland really. So all you had is waterfowl. So then once I moved over here, there's not much of a flyway over here. You get into ducks and geese once in a while, but not very. I haven't even got my waterfowl in my license in quite a few years now, because you just don't run into them. And I'd much rather go chase the upland instead of sitting on a puddle.
Yeah, let's go. So you started at 12. Generationally, your parents hunted, got you into it, or what?
Not. I mean, Dad took us fishing a couple times through the years, but that was about it. My parents didn't really hunt. A couple older siblings kind of did with some neighbor kids, and then I was almost too young for the tag along, so I never got to go. And then finally, it's like once I was old enough to get my hunter safety, it's like I'm doing it. And then the first couple of years were really rough. No dog. The first gun I started with was a 410 for waterfowl, so that isn't going to work very well. Yeah. So first year was a blank, but second year started off good. I had 2 ducks on the opening day, but improved gun though, so it was a 12 gauge then.
There you go. That does help.
Yeah.
So how about dogs? Was there an evolution on the dogs too for you? Did you get a waterfowl dog, or really?
So my first dog was intended to be waterfowl, but I never got her until it was, a little over a year before I moved here. So I started out with the plan for her being waterfowl and was doing all the training accordingly, and she was doing great. And then my dad got sick with cancer, and that kind of changed the last hunting season on waterfowl side. So I didn't get a lot near the hunting I had the last couple years previous to that. And then once I moved here, it was like, change of direction, let's go.
Yeah,
something totally different. You're not going to
the ghillie suit and grab the chaps, really.
Yeah, she did great though. It wasn't a hard transition for her. So she was a rock star for upland, so worked out great.
And you're a waterfowl, or you're a waterfowl move into the upland stuff, and now you're breeding gundogs, right? How long has that been going on?
I've only had 3 litters total, so I am not a big time breeder by any means. Should have had a couple more. We've had a couple strikeouts. Actually, she's in heat right now. I could do it again, but I'm like, 17 weeks. Yeah, that's about to start hunting season. Nope, not interested.
I'm right there with you. My female's in heat right now, and I've got a male intact who's her half brother, and I'm just breaking up the fight right now.
Yeah, mine are driving me insane right now.
Yeah,
my male my male won't let her alone, and I mean she's so mean she won't even let him get on. So she tears him up. So I let them out together and know it's just going to be a fight just to give them a run, and then I usually put one of them away and let one of them stay out for a while longer. So
I'm trying to do some of that. I went for the old reusable diapers. You gotta wash them in the washing machine, but they make a pretty good chastity belt.
That's true.
That's what I
that's
need,
true.
really.
Yeah, a defender.
Exactly. He's not good enough.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to prove himself.
Yeah.
It's not happening,
Yeah.
So three generations. What possessed you? You had a dog you loved. Is that it?
What do you mean?
Why breed them? Like what?
Oh, okay, sure.
There?
So the female I got, my original female, she was bred from my good friend of mine, and we had hunted waterfowl, quite a few years. Actually, we hunted a lot without a dog. Then he got his dog and was like, "Dang, she's really good." And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I was doing fine without one in waterfowl because we didn't hunt lots of water. It was mostly ditches or creeks, no big open water. A lot of it was just cornfield hunting, a lot of dairies up in that area. So there's lots of cut corn for silage. So I didn't really have the urge for a dog. And then my buddy had puppies, and it's like, dang it.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted one. And growing up, I had a guy I worked for when I was a kid. He had a whole string of chocolate labs, and it's like, God, that one dog's really nice. So I was pulling for a male, and all that was left was a chocolate female. It's like, fine. And she was awesome. So in the lineage now, my female is a 5th generation in that female line.
Nice.
And then she's had a litter. So there's the 6th is out there.
Yeah.
And then one of those males already is a stud from my litter. Wow. So there's actually a 7th generation out there already. So it's pretty cool. But between myself and 2 of my buddies, we've kept this female line going from when the one buddy was just out of high school, and that's bordering on 30 years now. So it's kind of cool to keep it rolling. So and we can see
who's the family, really.
Yeah. I never did get a hunt with that first female that the first buddy got. We actually scheduled one time, and we actually went out to the spot, and people were already there. So it's like, we're busted. So, but then knowing her and then hunting with the next one a handful of times, and then now, or actually Roxy was my first, and she's passed now, but and then now having Roxy's granddaughter is my black female now, Rogue. So it's kind of cool to see the line. And then when you do get some of them out hunting together, it's like, holy crap. I remember that. I remember that. And you remember, like, dude, 15 years ago, I saw that exact same thing from.
Yes. Yeah. You can tell the traits, really.
Yes.
That's too cool. So what is it like getting to join the family? I mean, when you do have puppies coming, are they pretty much spoken for typically, or?
So I had 2 litters with Roxy. They were, a couple. So the second couple of them friends right away. The second litter was a return. The black female, she had 7, 6. No, she had 8. She had 8. 7 males came out.
Oh, man.
And the buddy that I got Roxy from wanted a black female back. And finally, she pushed out the black female, the last one. Really? We were on the phone. Yeah, we were on the phone together cheering.
Yeah.
Literally. We got one. It was, oh, here's another one. Crap, male. Oh, here's another one. Crap, male.
I'm sure.
And then all of a sudden, female was like, oh. So he's got one back from me. And then the female I have now was back from him. So we've swapped a couple times now. So it's pretty cool
that is cool
to keep that going. And then he's actually got So he still has the old pup that he got back from me, and then he took a female from my current female sister. So it's still in the female line, and he's probably gonna, well, depending on how it goes, he might breed before I get mine bred again, because I'll consider it in 6 months and see how it go, or when she heats next. But
yeah. So where are you on it usually? Like, is it one of those deals where I can have 4 more dogs anyways, or are they spoken for the most part? Like, you got already.
I prefer to have a couple people in line.
Yeah.
Some lab litters are massive, and if you don't have at least a couple spoken for you, it's like, oh crap, I'm going to spend a ton just on marketing.
Food.
And to be either just time or have to put out a bunch of ads. So, and I'd rather. So the first 2 litters, I spent way too much on ads, and it was just adding up. And it was like, by the time you get done and you pencil out your bills and your income, it's like, oh, that wasn't very much. And then the last time I didn't advertise much at all. It was word of mouth.
Yeah.
Put
undisputed heavyweight.
Yeah, put a few things on social media type of things, but there's only so much you can get away with there too. So
yeah, I'm curious on ad spend. Are you primarily alt media? Like, what are we talking about? YouTube social kind of advertising, or
just puppy pictures on Facebook? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
job.
Alt media. That's the alt media.
That'd be alt media. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The previous 2 litters, which now that first one, that's a long time. Well, it would be 15 years ago. The first would have been the first litter. And then the second one. So I think all those from the first litter have gone. The second one. So my buddy still has his female. And then, I have all the contact information. And it's like everybody went cold, and it's like, well, that was weird. So, but then the next one, this last one. So they were 2 years old just a couple weeks ago. So I got one in Southern California, one in Idaho, and he hunts like crazy, and he just loves it. He's a brute, but he just loves that dog. He uplands a lot, Andy waterfowls. So he's got some pictures with, like, I don't know how many guys they had, but they had a freaking mountain of snow geese, and it's like, good grief. that puppy in 2 years is going to touch more birds than my 2 adults.
That's
so
funny. You love to see them get out, though.
Yep.
I'm sure being able to keep in touch with them and know that they're getting on birds and getting to that means something. That's probably one of the more important boxes to check when you are interviewing potential puppy owners, I would imagine. Right. How do you do it? Is it easy because they're hitting you up through social media and you can quickly just go, okay, probably a bird hunter?
Some, yes. I have a couple town pups too, and I'm like, kind of makes you I don't know, but at the same time, it's like once they get to, well, actually they were both spoken for early, so I told them these are going to be pretty high energy.
Yeah.
And
Get the freaking potato cannon and shoot some tennis balls. You don't want to fetch a lot.
Yeah. Don't leave them loose in the house for days on end, or you're going to have missing furniture.
Exactly. My male, he shoots furniture corners. We're working on that right now.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the final female. I ended up with a male this last time because it was the litter very much like it.
Sure.
And, the breeder was like, "Trust me, you're gonna love this," and I love a good sell. So I was like, "All right, man, let's do it."
Yeah, I would have never gotten the male because I was intending on getting a female back from my buddy, and he struck out. Was it 2 or for sure 2 heats? They tried AI a couple times and still struck out, and I'm just going, dude, I need a dog. Come on, my female at that time I think was 9.
Yeah, don't forget I'm on the waiting list.
Yeah, no kidding. I think she was. I think she was 9, and it's like, come on, man. And he struck out, and they were just stuck on this stud, but he was getting older. And they actually did a viability test. They did, and supposedly this lady is just the gift to AI, and just it never pulled off. And it's like, come on, man, come on. And then I was like, I have to do something. So I found the male, and then be a year and a half later, he finally had pups again. It's like, oh gosh, it's about time.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't looking at the clock or anything, you know. That's funny. So I want to circle back on the old social media. We have quite a few outdoor entrepreneurs, listeners,
Sure.
in kind of the same position. You know, a lot of locally owned businesses. What I'm curious about is, are you still have the standard cable package? Are you running Dish or satellite or one of those, or are you a TV app guy?
We are transitioning.
So you're
we're
making
out.
the move.
Yeah, we're out in the sticks. So all we could get was satellite. There's no cable option here. So we were DirecTV, or we still have DirecTV, and then we were like HughesNet, Wild Blue for our internet. So we finally got Starlink. So we switched
to the Elon internet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was ready to go.
Yeah. We're launched. So, and it's working great. So any day, I think we're gonna deep six the DirecTV also, but it's that transition. It's that transition's a little tough because you're hooked to some of the shows on Direct.
Right.
Yeah. And
you
then
have to reverse engineer what other apps you're going to need to solve all of your TV show problems.
Exactly. And then it's like, okay, we're already paying for this. How many shows do we want to pay for? So
right. If my satellite budget is $100 a month, like how many apps can I get for less than that? Really?
Yes, exactly.
They're going to cover as much of the media as I really need.
And that's worth it. And then nowadays my kids, heck, they're on a tablet or a phone 90% of the time. It's like, you guys don't even need shows. Yeah. So it's going to be a struggle when we kick DirecTV, but
maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I might know somebody you can call, really.
So there's just we got Roku for the Wi-Fi through Starlink, so it's working great for certain stuff, but there's at a certain point you start adding to that bill.
So is there a limit on Elon's got a limit on how much internet you can consume through Starlink, or how has he done it?
I don't. If there is, we haven't come close because I haven't gotten any warnings, so I can't. Darn it, I can't. I'm off the top of my head. I'm not even sure. I think there's really only like a base package though, so I'm not even 100% sure what the limit is. There's got to be some type of limit, but we haven't come close to it yet. I haven't gotten any warnings or anything like that. So
I don't think anyone's believing the data problem anyways. Remember when you used to have to pay for minutes?
Yeah.
That's like one of the best jokes you can tell on the phone these days. Like, hey, I got to go. I'm running out of minutes.
Hang up.
It's a deep cut now, really.
It's a good way to end a call, though.
I'm telling you. It's like, I had to let you go. I'm trying to run the printer.
Yeah.
Remember that one? That's another good one. I'm just telling you.
It's good stuff.
So, Dan, you've got some badass bird dogs. Sounds like you had 3 generations of them. What other kind of stuff are you doing, man? I saw on your Instagram that you looked like you were hiking mountains recently. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we went for the 4th. We went back to the west side, back to where I grew up. So took the wife and kids up to Mount Baker, Artist Point. So we couldn't hike. I was expecting a lot less snow, and we stopped at one of the lower turnouts and like, oh, this is nice, and the bathroom was open. So let's use that. Well, then we'll go up, and it's like as we left, I'm like, there is a lot of snow up here. And we got to the top, and like only thing that was open was the parking lot. So it's like, crap.
It still had a lot of snow.
Yeah. I didn't put the picture on my phone. My wife took the picture of the girl standing next to the wall, and it was probably 18 feet or so, just straight up.
She got to see some waterfalls too.
Yeah. There's Nooksack Falls is up there, so Nooksack River coming down from that. So.
Okay. So for other people that are not a geographer like me, where is that exactly?
So the northwest corner of Washington.
Okay.
Proximity closest to Bellingham is the largest city up that way. So, and then it's close to the Canadian border also. So in the Cascades, North Cascades, close to Canada. So.
What was the temperature there?
Air temperature was actually pretty pleasant. It was, I didn't really log it, but it was probably low 70s.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty pleasant. But then once you got out on the snow, you could feel the cool from the snow. But
Yeah.
we walked around a little bit, but I wasn't expecting that, so we were just in tennis shoes, and right away you can start feeling the moisture seep in around your shoes because you're sinking in the sloppy snow. But it was pretty nice though. It was just, usually there's lots of trails that are open that you can go out a ways from the parking, but yeah, we went a little ways and it's slipping and sliding. It's like, I'm going to be dragging everybody off this if we keep going. So let's just turn around and head back.
Yeah. So you live in the kind of southeast now?
Yeah.
Is that right? What kind of public land do you have around you?
Very little, unfortunately. It's when settlers came through here, they claimed it all for farming pretty much. So it's mostly all private. Actually, even I just picked up the big game regs for this year, and I'd laugh because people will ask this question like, "Oh yeah, what's available?" And it's like, even in the big game regs, it says very little public land. Do not apply for certain. Don't apply for all this certain tags and everything.
Yeah,
because if you don't have a lead on some land, you might not get on some land. So
right,
but
go into the lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
Spot,
Exactly. But it's there's little bits here and there. There's some feel free to hunt. There's one big farmer over here now does the. I've never even signed up for it because I know it's just chaos. But it's the reservation. You can reserve it for certain days and times and stuff like that. So they actually have some good land. I used to hunt on that before they did the reservation thing, but it's I think I've never looked into it. I know other people have, but you have to be ready online at midnight or something like that to be the first to get your days or something like that. So, but it's great to at least have that option. But when I originally moved here, I was working in weld shop, so I was working on a lot of farm equipment, so that opened a lot of doors. So thank goodness for me, it's worked out great. But for anybody new, it's pretty tough. Excuse me. There's some more ground down south, closer to the Snake River and stuff like that. But then you're starting. It's a Snake River Canyon for a reason. So turns into a pretty tough hunt.
Is that where the Wagyu farm is?
There is one. RR.
The Snake River Farms, I think.
Well, there's Snake River Farms, and then there's Bar R Ranch. Was like the founding father for Wagyu.
Really?
In the U.S. Yeah. He was.
It's Wagyu and Angus, right? It's Wangus here.
Yeah.
Is that their deal?
I think that's the Snake River one.
Have you tried it?
I never have. Not from them. I've had a Wagyu steak, and it's just like.
It's like eating a stick of butter.
Yeah, mine wasn't.
Really?
I have a pasture with steers in it right now, and it's like I find it hard to justify spending the price at a grocery store or a restaurant for the high end stuff. So because mine's pretty darn good in my freezer. So
hey, I get it. If you've got it on tap, it's pretty hard to buy it, I'd say.
Yeah. Now going out for dinner, it's hard to buy a steak. Every once in a while, it's like, all right, we're either at a steakhouse. Or that one time I did try the Wagyu, and it's like, it's good, but I have 10 steaks the same price in my freezer.
Right, exactly. It's not cheap.
No.
They're prety proud of it.
Yes, they are.
It better be imported.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. It takes longer to grow them. They're not as fast a gain as commercial cows, so I get some of it. But yeah.
Is that it? They take forever?
They take longer, yeah.
And they have to be from Japan, right? Like you can't have a full-blooded Wagyu here.
No, that would be Kobe beef. That's when they take the Wagyu and treat it like it's a king.
Right.
Feed it beer, give it massages.
Yeah.
I think that's the Kobe level.
Read it poetry in the Evening Times or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Kobe.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what now I need to try it. Really, that's what now it's got me thinking. What does poetry beef taste like?
I'll try it. I'll try it again someday, but it's just like there's a steakhouse in Spokane and another one in Coeur d'Alene we've been to that are really well-known steakhouses, and it's not even an option there because they're so good at their regular steak. So why would they take on something new?
Well, I think we just plugged them. They need to cut the check, really.
Sure.
I'll send it to them after. I'm sure they'll take that well.
Yeah.
Let's get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, so you're living on a farm, really? You have multiple steers. I mean, how many head of cattle do you have?
I just have 3 steers on the place.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Are they doing FFA and 4-H and all that stuff?
We have 4-H pigs here. Yeah, both girls do a 4-H pig every year. So
fun.
Yep.
How old are the kiddos?
Just turned 15 and 10.
Fun. Are they still enjoying the 4-H and showing pigs? They enjoy that. It's fun.
I mean, they don't like the chore, but
yeah.
When it's not
money in it for them sometimes, though.
Oh right? Yep. When it's 90+ degrees out and they have to go water them or feed them or
builds character, though.
Do some practice showing. So yeah, they're pretty good at getting out early when it's this hot. Get it done early in the morning and then check on them again at night usually. So
yep. Chores, routine.
Yep.
What Jordan Peterson? What's he say? Make your bed. That's his deal.
Yep.
Same thing, right?
I still don't.
Really? I only started because Jordan said to. Really?
Oh yeah, I should.
I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, I'm usually up first, so it's hard to make it when somebody's still in it.
It's not on me. If I brew the coffee, then it's not on me, really.
Yep.
Funny. So it sounded like you're chasing some birds, a few different kinds. You're not necessarily surrounded by public land. You already have all the friends because you've already fixed all of their machinery. Is that it?
Yep.
So you're not having to travel per se.
No. I have a couple spots that are right on the Idaho line, and I go. Oh, how far is it? Probably 25, a little under 25 miles west of me. So just a small little region here. So I do still some of the friends on the west side come over and hunt. A lot of them come over here, but then they have a spot up outside. Well, it's a ways outside Moses Lake too. So I've been there one time to hunt with them too. So I've moved around, but nothing major.
Yeah. So you're getting 3 kinds of birds. I mean, that's an upland slam in that little spot. What were the 3 again?
Ringneck pheasant, and then valley quail, and then Hungarian partridge.
Let's go. What do you think of the Huns? Fly fast.
I love them if I can hit them.
Yeah. They're pretty fast.
Last year I had the most opportunities I've ever had, and most of them were point blank, and I botched every one of them.
That's so funny.
My buddy got
the Huns.
My buddy got one, thank goodness, just to show that we got one for the season. But I had way too many just last second dog notification, and then boom, and it's like, no. And I think I idiot and just went flock shooting every time and nothing.
That's so funny. I'm the exact same way. I'm terrible. I miss them all the time. I miss them so often that the dogs, I know their face when they look at you and they're like, really? Like, you suck, it's on me. Like, I am
a new owner.
Really. I just had to live with it.
Yep.
Cool. So are you, I mean, you're running Palouse Gundogs. That's what I know you as an outdoorsman, really. Are you still working the day job? Are you still repairing? Okay.
No, I'm not in the weld shop anymore. I assemble lumber testing equipment. So lumber mills around the world run some of our equipment for grading and strength test and that type of thing. So I transitioned. I'm not fabricating anymore in the weld shop. So
they send you everywhere in the world?
No, not me. Thank goodness.
Really?
I'm not a globetrotter.
Okay.
No, I assemble it in our shop and then we send it.
Send it off.
Yeah.
Nice.
We do have a couple service guys that go around all over the place and service and install. So we have those guys, but no, I'm assembling in the shop. So putting everything together and parts and pieces and making it run.
Okay. So we always use the sawmill as like the here's what 50 years of industrialization will do, or 50 years of innovation. Remember the sawmill, really? Tell me, like how much has it changed?
Oh, a ton. And U.S. market's actually a little bit behind the rest of the world.
Really?
Yeah. The company I work for, you can buy everything you need for a complete plywood mill from them. And like Europe, almost all of their lumber is LVL. So they're laminating sheets into a huge, massive wood is what they call it. And then they'll cut it up. So they'll cut their 2x4s out of LVL. So literally their 2x4 looks like a piece of plywood.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense.
It's engineered. It's way stronger. There's no knots and it's straight.
Interesting. I never even thought about it.
We're still kind of stuck because we have so many trees to cut. But go to Home Depot or any lumber store and start going through the 2x4s.
Right.
They're twisted. They're twisted. They're full of knots. They're weak. They're
A couple years ago, you couldn't even get them. It was more expensive than gasoline.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I was purchasing or calling in the orders to get some OSB for our shipping.
Yeah.
And during COVID, it was like every time you called, there's like, how much are they now? And it's like, they got what they push close to $80 a sheet, and that was just OSB. So
every home builder in America was just like, I don't think you can afford this house anymore.
No,
we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to figure this thing out.
Or we can't even get anymore.
So manufactured 2x4s, there's other countries in the world living this future, and we're behind.
Yep.
Why are we behind?
I think it's just because we still have the majority of the forests available to us. So if we think we got it,
out of trees.
Yeah, yet. They're making sheets out of peckerwood, just little tiny things that we wouldn't even touch. So, but then they can peel it in the peeling line. They can peel it down to a broomstick. So all of that's usable wood now. Well, we wouldn't even consider cutting that. Yeah, we wouldn't even consider cutting that down unless it's going to pulp. That's a different process. But if it was going to pulp, they might. But around here, it's like, well, we got all this big wood. Why do we want to screw around with a bunch of little things?
And what are we doing? Well, we're wasting all of this. Really, we could be getting way more out of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that the reality?
Yeah.
So, what are the countries that are doing the old manufactured 2x4? It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, a lot of them. There's transition. We'll get notices not every time, but a lot of the time we'll get notices of big sales, and a lot of these major wood corporations or companies are switching over to do more LVL or veneer or whatever, more peeling lines and more plywood type stuff instead.
Are they going overseas? Are they shipping wood in here?
Oh, I think it happens. I don't think it's a lot, but I think it still happens because we still have such a good market. But
it's a plan per se.
No,
but everyone else's and say ours. It's with trees.
No, but it's getting harder and harder. Also, because there's so many restrictions, on logging, and you can't cut this and you can't cut that, and you can't do this road, and you can't, there are a lot more restrictions, and it's a lot harder. But
I'm a person that loves trees, but I still think we should cut them down too.
Yeah, you still need some management too. The majority of these massive forest fires is because there was no management. They just let them get old, overgrown, way too much understory of crap, and then boom, it goes off all at once. So.
Right. And after a fire, sometimes that's a good place to check for birds.
Yeah.
I use that Onyx filter. We're plugging them. I definitely use that filter here.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, Dan. So tell me, I'm actually really wanting to hear more about the lumber industry. What I'm curious about, how many 30-year-olds are you working with?
Very few.
Yeah.
I'm 45. The next two guys above me are older, and then we have a couple below me that are in their 20s.
So are you an Xer or are you a late millennial?
I'm an Xer.
You're an Xer?
45. So
okay. I know.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a millennial.
That's a problem. I think we proved a lot of people wrong. They said the whole I hear people my age talking about Z, and I'm like, just stop it. No, we don't. Never.
Can you even keep up anymore? That's the hardest part.
It's just they always just have to take crap is the reality.
Yeah,
that's where you're at right now. You're just taking the bull crap. One day you have to do the job.
Yep.
That's what I'm curious about, though. Like, what is the future of the lumber industry if you're not seeing a lot of 30-year-olds?
I don't know. And more and more mills are just going out. So, consolidation type of thing. So the closest mill to me now is they're shutting down. Oh shoot. Next month, I think is their last run, and they're already down at their peak. I think they had 100 guys in the mill, and I think they're down to 26 or 27 or something, and they're shutting down. They're very specialized though. They had to market for small logs still getting dimensional lumber. So they are cutting the little logs and still getting 2x4s and 2x6s out of it. But that's it, just little, but they specialized in it. So they had a market for, I think they mostly lows or you're getting licked.
Yeah.
But anyway, they had a market, but it's drying up even for them. So they're shutting down here. I think it's next month, if I remember right. So
that's horrible. When you said consolidation, originally I thought acquisition really is a bit.
Yeah,
big players are making purchases.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that. No, I don't think so. This is just a shutdown. It's just they're not. Like I said, they at their peak they had over 100, and right now they're still getting by with 25 or 26. So obviously they're not putting out as much wood as they would like. They have the capacity, but it's just either not selling or it's it's kind of, it's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's a haul to anywhere. So granted, all mills are now, because there's nobody wants a mill next to town anymore. So unfortunately, anybody's gonna have to drive.
What? Why not? Smell, sound, too loud?
All of it. All of it adds up. Yeah.
So pollution of all kinds, is that what you're
saying? Yeah.
Okay. Is that part of the problem, or is that why we're losing some of them? Is it regulation?
I think some of them, yeah. The smaller older ones, if it's okay, if they start getting too many complaints, well, then you got to do this for noise, or you got to do this for the steam that's coming off the dryer, because it looks like smoke, even though people can't realize that it's just steam. It's water vapor. It's not chemicals and poison. It's just water vapor. It's a cloud basically. But
it's not really smog at all.
No.
It's
still
steam.
That a lot of people just don't realize that. So, but that, and then okay, I don't. It's the plumber mill just up here. I don't know. It's been in operation a long time, but what's the next refit? How much is the next upgrade? Is it 100 million? Is it 50 million? And we're only making, we're just pocketing change.
So that's why it doesn't. That's why we're behind on innovation.
Yeah,
because it's a fat check to cut, really.
Yeah.
To move into manufacturing wood.
Yeah.
What an interesting conundrum. What I'm curious to know is, if a go-getter 30-year-old asks you right now, is like, hey, do you have work for me? Like, is your mill hiring or no?
So we're not a mill. We're just making the equipment. So,
the mills.
Yeah, to serve the mills. Yeah. So, I mean, we get, so the company I work for was bought out a few months before I started, and that company is Raute, which is a Finnish company, but they're the ones that will sell you the complete plywood mill. So, but we'll get notifications of big sales and big stuff. So around the world, it's still happening.
Yeah,
it's just so many little regional spots. It doesn't pay off anymore. And then actually, the Northwest is going to start slipping a little bit more, because the South,
Less regulated.
well, not just less regulated, they can grow trees so much faster and better down south.
I see.
They grow so much faster than up here because we're in a temperate climate, so you get we have winter every winter. Well,
Right.
down south they don't. So,
It's summer all the time.
yeah, pretty much. So
Yep.
so they're growing wood, and then their southern yellow pine is so much better wood than anything we're producing up here. So, and they don't have beetles, we do. So that's why a lot of our forests are dying out. So, including a few trees on my place now are starting to die out, and it's like, no,
That's terrible. In the South they're worried about oak wilt, but
yeah, they have some
beetles up here.
Yeah, pine beetle, just notorious for getting under the bark and planting their larvae, and most trees can handle it in good years, but then when they start having some drought, the tree can't keep up because the tree will flood them with pitch, and a lot of times it'll just kill them. I just saw like a quick documentary about it. A lot of healthy trees don't mind. I mean, they don't like it, but they don't notice it because they'll flood the little buggers with pitch, and the beetle will just entombed basically in pitch. Yeah. But when the tree's dried out enough, it can't flood them. It can't, especially some of these trees are infested with them, hundreds of them. And then all of a sudden, no more juice to flood them out. Well, then they get under that bark and just start chewing away. So pitch is sap. Same thing. We're talking about the Jurassic Park handle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in 100 million years, they'll be drilling out DNA from a pine beetle.
There you go. To bring back
a pine beetle
was walking in the redwood forest.
The pine beetle's not sucking any blood, so I guess we're just going to get another pine beetle.
Right, and then we're all going to have to get vaccines and
oh, definitely.
And
boosters.
Lock in. One more. Just another deep.
Oh wow.
Part 2. We'll all know how to do it this time.
I don't know.
Somewhere, somebody's got a whole basement full of toilet paper, and they're going, "The joke's on you." Like I knew it the whole time.
I said 100 million. That might be like part 10 or 12 by then.
Yeah, there you go. Funny. Okay, so let me get this straight. Your company that you're working for currently got acquired. They got acquired by one of these companies that's out of country that does the plywood manufacturing.
Yep.
Well, where are they out of?
Finland.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And that's a small island, really. It's a smaller kind of area. They don't have that much wood. Is that it?
No, they still have good wood over there too. That's where I'm assuming they've been around for 100 and some odd years. Like they started out making bed frames. I mean that's what they just evolved over the years, and they've been shortly after. I'd have to look back through the history thing again, but yeah, they started out they did all kinds of stuff, and then like, hey, we make these really good lathes, and then hey, these lathes turn wood really good. Holy crap! And then it kind of went from there. So, but now they'll do the entire. They do the entire mill, from bringing in a raw log at the beginning to whatever type of layup.
The Finnish are Vikings, right?
That's yeah, probably. I mean, it's more Norwegian, I think, but they're up there though.
Right. I'm just thinking, they made belts and all kinds of stuff. They've been using one for a long time.
Yep.
Make good lathes, and the next thing you know, you're supplying an entire mill.
Yep. So
you're in the shop and you're doing the assembly. I'm guessing you guys have sales guys pounding the pavement, going to mills all over the country. Is that what they're?
Yeah, we have actually our GM is our sales guy, so he's gone almost all the time. It seems like so, and trade shows and all that kind of stuff. So, and then our service guys are out doing service, so they're like, hey, you need one of these, hey, you need one of those, so they're selling parts and all that kind of stuff. So
I would imagine, I mean, sawmills are not small. There's probably not a bunch of them sitting right next to each other. My guess is that they'd be spread out throughout the country.
Yep
Pounding the pavement all the time.
Yep. The service guys are gone a lot. I don't even want it. A couple of them are gone way more than the others, just kind of what they specialize in. But
Yeah.
and then they'll do their best. If, hey, I'm coming to Georgia or Alabama or whatever, like, hey, you know, I'm already going to be here. How about I just run over and check this out? Or actually, we got a lot of stuff in Australia and a few in New Zealand, so they'll do a pack of mills all at once instead of making multiple trips. So
Yeah. Those service guys and the salespeople too, they have all the points. Like,
oh yeah,
if you need a free hotel stay, they're the guy. Really.
Yep,
You
yep.
buy them a jelly donut, and you're in
Yep.
the club. Really, they have always got them all the points. So sorry to just derail the conversation here. Let's get back on birds a little bit.
Okay.
What's one that you haven't hunted that's on the list?
I'd love to pull in a chucker someday.
Same.
I have a couple of spots where, I know one of the spots other guys have gotten them, and then another spot comes right up to. It's not actually the snake break, but it's a canyon that drops down into the snake, and I hunt the rim around the top, and it's like, you know what? There's got to be chuckers in that thing one of these days. But then you look over the edge at the rim, and you're like,
it's rowdy. They love rowdy terrain. Really.
I'm 45. I've always been overweight.
It's rowdy terrain.
My knees are in still good shape. I don't know. So,
yes.
but I have some friends that got jet boats, and we've shot Hell's Canyon, and you'll see them up there once in a while. And of course, either not during hunting season or dang it, I should have brought a gun type of thing. But yeah. I've seen the guys down there hunt them out of boats, and it's like, that might be the better way to do it. So maybe one of these days, but it's just,
you do one of the floating hunts.
Yeah.
Not a bad wrap.
I actually used to raise chucker when I was still on the west side, and cool little birds, except for trying to pull eggs and incubate them, because they get up and they're just missiles, and they're
so strong. They
just pelt you.
Yes.
But no, I the couple of spots I'd really like to find them, but it's
Hell's Canyon's on my list.
Yeah.
I want to go do it.
I've never done it, where you see some of the hunting shows do it. They're doing it up top, coming down. Yeah. I've only been in the bottom on a boat, looking straight up, going, no way in.
Yeah. They love rowdy terrain.
Yep.
It's a bird to hunt. I think it's on my list. It's high up on my list. I tried to do it last year, and we ended up getting into Huns. But even then, I was like, am I an alpinist right now?
Yeah.
I'm 50% alpinist, I think. Yeah,
you halfway through, your shotgun turns into a walking stick, not a shotgun. It's kind of hard on it. But no, one of my other spots, I've seen guys hunt it so that they kind of have it reserved on the opening weekend, and the guy that he doesn't, it's pasture ground. It's too hard to even farm. And he sent me a picture the one time, and they had pheasants, valley quail. Can't remember. It's like 4 or 5 chucker and a couple of Huns. And I'm like, how in the heck? Because I've seen Huns there before, but I've never seen the chucker. So if it's a rando that opening weekend, they've never been pushed, never been touched. So the chucker were out in ground that they usually aren't on. Or because I've been out there, I go there once or twice a season, maybe. It's crazy steep, but it's not all rock. You still got some ground to walk on, but it's, I've brought guys that are twice as fit, twice as skinny as me, and they'll burn out before I do, because I'm doing it every weekend, and they're coming over for, once or twice a season type of thing. So
yeah, are they flatlanders?
Yeah, they're from the west side still. So
that'll do it, man.
Yeah,
altitude will get you. That alone, you don't realize.
Yep, it will. And then just the jaunt. Okay, we're going up there, huh?
Right. Yeah, and guess what? These mountains always look so much smaller until you start.
Oh yeah.
And then you realize how big a freaking mountain.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The first time I had a group come over and hunt, we split about halfway up, and I told them to go about there, and pointed stuff out, and 3 of us got back down to the bottom. I was like, where in the heck are they? And sure enough, here we see Orange cresting this hill. I'm like, I didn't tell him to go up, but they were so far away we couldn't yell and scream. And it's just finally they got down. And sure enough, that one ever since has been nicknamed the High Bastard. So
Yeah, so funny. So funny. It's like I'm from the South originally, but drive up here to go ski or whatever, you're like, oh, there are the mountains. Right, that means we'll be there in 3 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So you can see them, but they're really freaking big. That's why you can.
Well, even when we just went to Baker 2 weekends ago, driving on the way up, I'd pointed out to my daughters on the way up, oh, there it is. We'll be there in a little bit. And, it's not a little bit. And then you get to see it a couple quick peaks on the way up, when you're just, it's not a mountain pass because it dead ends. You can't go through. And sure enough, on the way back, the way up, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a glimpse. But then when you get up top, you're at its base. And they're like, well, how high are we? Well, we're half of its height because it goes that much further. And then they kind of like, oh yeah,
perspective, really.
Yeah,
we're up here. That's why you're sucking air. Yep. So, and I'm speculating here, but I haven't met that many folks from Washington, Idaho, or Montana that are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to move to Texas or California. Like you've lived in such a beautiful place for so long. Is there any world where you could leave?
Idaho would be really tempting just to get out of Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
To escape some of Washington's politics, is that it?
Yeah. Just to escape stuff that happens in Olympia.
I understand. Is that it's just California, really?
Virtually California North.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just another little sect of California, I think.
Yep.
Was it that way growing up, or has it changed drastically?
Oh, it's changed. It's been that way forever, but it's changed. It's gotten a lot worse. I mean, just in the depending on how the elections go, the state house and stuff can go super majority. And then it's just like, well, just
game over, really.
Is it throw in the towel then? Because what are we fighting for at that point? So it's they'll just push everything that they want, and they almost already do, but then there's no guardrails anymore. So that's pretty scary. Yeah, when I moved over here, we were in a small apartment in Pullman after we got married, and it's like, okay, let's look. And we looked, and there was a handful. We looked in Idaho, and none of them were very good, not great anyway. And it's like, dang it. I so should have. But I got really good hunting access here and very little in Idaho. So it's I could get some in Idaho. But
what's their public land game look like?
So they're very similar up here, up in this region, the Palouse region. It's majority farming also until you start pushing into the woods. But then if you're pushed too far in the woods, you're starting to lose out on some of your traditional upland. You can start getting in grouse, but you're going to start losing pheasant and quail and that type of thing. So, but when the settlers came through here, the earliest ones like, well, heck, I don't want to stay here because it's all hill. Everything's a rolling hill. I don't want to farm a hill. So they went, 60, 80 miles west, got above the Missoula floodland, the scab lands, and then it's flat for days. Well, they get less than half the rain over there. So the guys that stayed, like, hey, this is a good idea. So because we get 20 inches of rain a year. Well, all the guys that went through to flatland only get 10 inches of rain a year. So farming's a whole lot better here.
Yeah.
But that's
the pheasant are.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the same problem with pretty much everywhere. You got clean farming now that's almost too clean, doesn't leave enough residue, spray out the ditches.
Yeah.
Took out all
inspiration. We talk about it about every episode. Where are you on it?
We need more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you maybe have an interesting perspective on this. Like you're pro, let's chop the trees down because that's what the lumber industry needs. But there's some crossover there. I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, and my brother farms, and I help him farm, so I understand. I understand all sides, but there's a point So I couldn't even guess how many miles of drain tile are in this country because they drained all the wet spots.
Yeah.
Well, that wet spot housed a handful of birds, a whole bunch of bugs, a deer, an elk, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, when everything's drained and you can farm every square inch, what's left? Sure, there's some feed. Now there's the other side. The farmers are putting feed out too. So you can't hammer them to death because they're feeding all the animals. So it's really tough. I'm torn in three directions. So
I understand.
But around here, there's almost no logging left. It's just the unfarmable ground has trees. Like my 8 acres here is down in a pretty deep draw, pretty deep cut that's not really farmable. So I have my flat is just pasture ground, but then I have some tree line too. That's big, giant, 120-foot pines. But they're so big now. It's like just the equipment to come in to deal with them. No one's gonna want to drop that equipment on the road, run it through my yard, just to get out to cut them down. All it's more than likely going to leave now is firewood. So and that's not even great firewood because it's just bull pine. So yeah, it's tough. It's you talk a lot of the old farmers like, oh, all we used to do was hunt the fence rows. Well,
yeah,
60, 80 years ago, there was a fence row every 160 or 320. Now there's almost no fence rows. They've all been torn out. Nobody pastures anything. It's just modern farming. So it's, guys really like to hammer the farmers, but it's like they're feeding the animals also. So it's tough. We've been flirting for a while to start a Pheasants Forever chapter down here to get a good enough group to go. And it's, you have those conversations like, oh, what's our main focus going to be? And somebody, says habitat, and you're like,
I know. It's like everybody's a freaking expert on the topic too, and I know. I don't know where I am with it. I without a doubt, I know there was a time when there was a lot of birds and less are happening.
Yeah.
For a time, there was way more prairie, and now there's a lot less prairie.
Yeah.
However, I also know that coronavirus happened and we got way more rain, and we had a winter storm in Texas. And so who really knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
We could have 10 years where it's just rains super hard. Yeah. It's a phenomenal year. And it's like, was it the habitat?
Yeah. Everything's in cycles. I mean, we're in a hot, dry cycle right now. So, but everybody's panicking, and then next year it'll be back to wet. So it's, right. Yes, there is climate change. Are humans a factor? Sure, we are a little bit, but are we? The ice caps were supposed to melt 25 years ago, so, and they're still here. So, actually, even longer than that ago. So,
right.
What do you do?
I know. It's like, should we really be taking responsibility for this? I don't even know.
Yeah.
There's 2 data scientists on either side that say the opposite thing.
Yep.
So what would you have me do?
Yep.
I just want to see birds.
Yep.
What's it going to take for us to find some?
Yep.
Idaho potential Hell's Canyon's public, right? What?
Yeah, a lot of it is.
And you've done some of it.
Not bird hunting, fishing down in the draw or down in the canyon.
Let's rim do that. Let's go hit it. We should.
I know my one buddy has done a few chucker from the boat, but it's like, but then it's during hunting season again. It's like, oh, I don't want to tie up the whole day just to do a couple birds, and I'm like, and then you're not really working your dogs, and it's like, right. It's tough. I'm tough.
Saying, let's go climb it. let's do the freaking devil's backbone.
Or you can scrape me off the rock in the bottom.
That's all right. I'll just bring my pack. Yeah. I'm working on that final rise. I think you can hook a whole human being up to them.
Have to ask Matt if it can support 260 pounds.
We'll Sherpa you. We'll get you up there.
Sure.
And this is perfect. This is definitely exactly what the listeners are looking for.
Cool.
So you did a great job. I really enjoyed having you on. I'd like to have you on again.
Sure.
We should try to figure out. I'm in Montana. Like, I'm not really that far away from you.
You're Helena, right?
I am.
Yeah.
So let's try to break the cycle of these screens. You know, let's try to shake hands in real life one of these days. I'd love that.
Sure.
Cool. Well, Dan, thanks for taking the time, sir. It's great to officially meet you. Let's
Yeah,
keep
you
in touch.
too.